Kenya was named a new non-NATO ally. What this means is that Kenya now has access to weapon systems, defense research, military training, among other things. But is Kenya prepared to take on the challenge of being friends with the NATO or the United States? Welcome to Life MAJUU. Today we are going to unpack power, policy, and the world's shifting gears, especially in the world of cybersecurity. Kenya being named a non-NATO, actually a major non-NATO ally by the United States, is a historic first in the sub-Saharan Africa. There's a quote that says, "Heavy is the head that wears the crown." Behind the military handshake and strategic symbolism, there's a growing risk, especially in cyberspace. What does this alliance mean for Kenyan cybersecurity posture? And just how prepared is the country to fend off cyber threats from global adversaries? Now, either Kenya likes it or not, it has become a target. State and non-state actors are now eyeing on Kenya because of its alliance or dalliance, hobnobbing with the big guys in the NATO alliance. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a game-changing alliance. It's a good thing. But as we said, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Now the crown is on top of Kenyan's government and people. It's about time for both parties to walk the talk. Being named a major non-NATO ally places Kenya into a select group of US strategic partners, giving it access to advanced weapons, research, especially on matters of defense and military training. But this newfound status comes with a spotlight, and that spotlight attracts attention from cyber criminals, rival intelligence agencies, and state-sponsored hackers looking to probe, steal, or disrupt. The assumption is, if the US is Kenyan's friends, then it means Kenya has the good stuff from the US. Now, state actors, cyber criminals are looking on how they can loot, how they can steal these crown jewels that Kenya allegedly has received or will receive from the US and other NATO members. Let's talk about new targets, old tactics, because the more Kenya becomes integrated with the US defense ecosystem, the more it becomes a potential backdoor for adversaries. Adversaries who cannot directly get to the US, they will definitely be using Kenya as a backdoor to get to the US firewall. The question is Kenya prepared to fend off adversaries, especially in cyberspace? The power grid in Kenya is undergoing a major modernization. As we speak, majority of Kenyans are not even connected to the internet. Majority of Kenyans are also not connected to electricity. So the power grid is new, internet is new to both the government and the citizens. In cybersecurity, this is a weakness because both the government and the citizens lack experience when it comes to power and the internet. Telecommunication networks, many of which were built with Chinese hardware, have not been renovated. Our telecommunications networks still rely on Chinese hardware, and we don't know if the Chinese companies can still access this hardware remotely. Because if they sold the hardware, that means they are responsible for maintaining the hardware. Can they access these systems in telecommunication networks remotely. Mobile banking platforms like M-Pesa, which are vital to daily life, is one of the crown jewels that, if attacked or stopped, would affect the economy at large. It is used by both citizens and the government. I can only imagine the amount of data stored on this mobile banking platform. All these are vulnerabilities that are susceptible to attacks from nation-state actors and cyber criminals. We've seen in countries like Ukraine, Georgia, and even the US itself have been compromised. Is Kenya prepared for this level of cyber confrontation, assuming that right now nation-state actors initiated their offensive on the East African country? Would Kenya be able to thwart their advances? Just the other day, we saw a young woman being arraigned in court for creating, basically being in support of the demonstrations happening in Kenya after one of the bloggers, Albert Ojwang, was murdered in a police cell. Her crime was coming up with a digital platform that actually teaches the citizens on ways to peacefully demonstrate. But the fact that she used a digital system to do that, that was categorized as a cybersecurity threat. Kenyan universities are producing cybersecurity graduates, and regional hubs in Nairobi are beginning to focus on cyber policy and resilience. So yes, we are getting there, but there are serious gaps. Cyber threat detection and response remains underfunded and uneven across agencies. Critical sectors like health, education, and transport often rely on unpatched or outdated software. I can just imagine the SGR being hacked and the ticketing system compromised. That will be a disaster. Public-private cooperation is still developing, and there's limited legal capacity to deal with transnational cybercrime. In short, Kenya has the awareness and the beginnings of infrastructure, but it needs to scale up quickly, especially now that it may be a proxy target in great power competition. Cyber threats aren't just technical, they are also psychological. As Kenya deepens ties with the US, we can expect espionage attempts on military and diplomatic communications, disinformation campaigns aimed at sowing distrust in government decisions. With social media, Kenyans are number one. In fact, don't play with Kenyans, KOT, don't play with them. Efforts to influence elections, policies, or public opinions using hacked or fake content will be on the rise. We've seen this play out on multiple scenarios and multiple countries. Kenya will need cyber hygiene and media literacy at both the government and grassroots level. The US is expected to provide technical support, from secure communication systems to training cyber defense systems. But ultimately, the responsibility to secure Kenyan networks, its data, and its democratic institutions rests with the Kenya government and the Kenyan people themselves. This is the moment to build a national cyber command, harden critical infrastructure, expand cyber diplomacy across Africa, and embed cybersecurity deep into the country's digital future, because the battlefield has changed, and so has Kenya's role in it.